You know, the beauty and the downfall of the internet is that anyone can say anything with no facts, no science, no truth required, really. Adam Cruz's last treatise on trophy hunting, a report, is one of those pieces. It's no coincidence that this report is coming out at the eve of the debate of the trophy hunting bill in the UK that's going to happen in the House of Lords on Tuesday. And this report has already generated multiple articles that are likely going to be forwarded to the members of Parliament to help and aid in the discussion and hopeful banning of the import of trophies into the UK. I can't address everything that's in Adam's report in this one video, so I'm going to pick a couple of things that I felt like showed the glaring, obvious bias nature of the report. So I'll come out the gate and make some confessions of my own. Robbie, you're biased. Yes, I'm biased. I'm pro-hunting. But that doesn't mean that hunting cannot improve. Just like any industry doing any type of work in the entire world, everything can be improved, hunting included. Hunting is not the panacea for wildlife conservation. I've said that many times. It works very well in certain areas and works terribly in others, in which those areas hunting should never be considered. And hunting, like every other industry, is not without blemish, is not without bad apples. But just like drunk driving, just like steroid use in baseball, you cannot take the bad apples and paint a broad brushstroke across the entire industry to say that's why it needs to be gone. Let's just start with the byline of Adam's report. It says, a tale of declining wildlife, corruption, exploitation, and impoverishment. So let's just start with declining wildlife. And I'm just going to lay out science. I'm just going to lay out data. So let's go on what Adam wrote in his report. I'm going to read it verbatim. Hunting quotas are not based on scientific data. A total quota of 356 elephants and 74 leopards are on the wildlife hunting quota in 2023. These figures are regarded as abnormally high. So in Botswana, there are 131,909 elephants according to the CASA survey. This is a minimum number in Botswana because CASA does not cover the entire country of Botswana. And so you can safely assume that there are more elephants than 131,909. So we could say there's more than 132,000 elephants in the country of Botswana. So now let's talk about the quota. 356 elephants divided by 131,909 gives you a population quota of 0.2% of the population. 0.2% does not sound abnormally high, as Adam Cruz suggests. The second element I want to highlight is that the report indicates that hunting is not something that is welcomed by Botswanans. Government officials, individuals, communities say that hunting is not necessary, hunting is bad. This is true. There are people all over the world, Adam Cruz included, and people in Botswana that don't think that hunting has a place. But there are always two sides to every coin, and there are people in Botswana that solely depend on hunting, that see it as a boost, see it as a boom. I've spoken to those individuals. I was just in Botswana for 16 days and heard it myself. I also heard from people who said, we don't like hunting. So you have two different kinds of people in Botswana that say yes to hunting and say no to hunting. Just like probably any industry, environmentally driven or climate driven, there are people on both sides of the coin. Cruz in his report states that current literature and field analyses show that community-based natural resource management programs in Botswana has shown that trophy hunting has failed to provide tangible financial benefits to communities. That statement is a lie. I spoke to, I videoed, I filmed, I interviewed the manager and director of the Nata Conservation Trust. Both of them said the same thing. Their bank account has never been as healthy as it is today because of the revenues derived from elephant hunting. The ecotourism revenues that they receive cannot touch the trophy hunting revenues that come in now because of hunting. I also spoke to the directors and people in charge of the Sankuyu Community Trust. In 2014, trophy hunting was removed from the Sankuyu area. Sankuyu now is amending their management plan specifically to include hunting back in. Why would they do that? because they realize the financial benefits that come from including hunting. And Senkuyu specifically will have ecotourism and hunting working together to maximize the land use that they have trust over. And here's the crux. Yes, that's absolutely possible. Ecotourism and hunting working harmoniously together, hand in hand. The concept in Adam's report suggests that they cannot work together. Adam specifically calls out NG41 Mababi as a place where these activities, ecotourism and hunting, cannot coexist. That is the example of where they can coexist. The Mababi Depression, a place where you have permanent water. And in Botswana, water is life. Water is life for wildlife, life for diversity, life for density, and life for permanent ecotourism to occur. But that's one small sliver of NG41. The remaining area of NG41 is a homogeneous Terminalia sericea raisin bush dominated landscape in which when you drove, and I drove it for 8 hours, all you see is ostrich, steenbok, and elephants. So this is the place where ecotourism and hunting can work together, utilizing, maximizing the use of the land for the benefit of the people of Mababi. Adam laser focuses his efforts around the CBNRM, saying that it is in a sorry state of affairs and that the poverty levels in these CBNRM areas are higher than the national average of Botswana. I could do a video on the financials alone, but I'll briefly say this. I have seen exceptional CBNRMs in Botswana that are absolutely kicking butt, and I've seen some terrible ones. But I could also say the same thing about ecotourism. When Adam points the finger at hunting, he's also pointing the finger at ecotourism because these CBNRMs also do ecotourism. Some do it very well and benefit communities. Others don't do anything for communities and don't benefit them at all. Another example that Adam uses is elephant sands in CT4. And he uses this example of how hunting is affecting ecotourism. Why is Adam not calling out elephant sands' contribution to the local communities? Elephant Sands sits in and under the Nata Conservation Trust area that supports 4 villages right around Elephant Sands. How much money has Elephant Sands contributed to the Nata Conservation Trust or the 4 villages around them? I can almost put money on the fact that they have not given a single penny. Elephant Sands is in CT4. CT4 has been up for tender for both ecotourism and hunting for the last couple of years. Nobody has tendered for it. Why hasn't Elephant Sands tendered for CT4? Because the juice isn't worth the squeeze in terms of putting the money down for the tender fee. That's why. If there was such a massive conflict between hunting and ecotourism, Elephant Sands would bid on CT4. But they don't. Funnily enough, in talking about Elephant Sands, Adam points out the famed attraction of elephants in the area because they're attracted to the permanent water sources established by Elephant Sands. Earlier in his report, the idea of permanent water provision was abhorrent, in which he stated the provision of water for wildlife via boreholes or road access to natural water is a tool to bait wildlife in drier parts of the country. What's the difference between Elephant Sands putting a permanent water source in place and CT5 putting a permanent water source in place? What's the difference? What's that saying that they say what's good for the goose is good for the gander? I guess it doesn't apply to elephants, right? The last thing I'll say is this. Land use, whether it's ecotourism or hunting, is a business, and businesses have to turn profit. Ecotourism profits are never questioned, nor their contributions to communities. However, hunting is always placed under an intense microscope in terms of the profits derived and the benefits to communities. And I know what you'll say, Robbie, ecotourism is not killing animals, hunting is. Okay, let's move past that. If the true matter of fact is what land use is doing for people in Botswana and how much money the operators are making, then there shouldn't be a difference. Like all businesses, some do very well, some do terribly. Some provide great benefits to the communities, some don't provide any at all. Unfortunately, I do believe that the Adams of the world, the Simons of the world, and all others believe that hunting should not turn a single penny of profit and at the same time should give 100% of the benefits back to the community. In that scenario, hunting fails to operate, fails to exist on the landscape. Hunting is not the panacea, as I stated in the beginning. It is not the thing that will be the savior of wildlife conservation everywhere, or be beneficial to people everywhere. But in certain areas, it works very well. In certain areas, it needs to be improved. I have seen the benefits with my own eyes. The woman that received a toilet for the first time and is so proud of it. The community that's receiving water infrastructure for the first time. The old Madala that is now receiving a pension. And the school principal who is incredibly proud of the trophy that he sticks on his table because of the prize-giving ceremony that was set up by these community trusts that are getting funded because of elephant hunting. I have seen it with my own eyes. I've spoken to those people and heard what they had to say. You cannot deny those benefits. Can we do better? Yes, always. In every industry and in hunting, we can always strive to be better. So at the end of the day, you have to ask a very simple question. Is Botswana better with or without elephant hunting? And my response is it's better with, because there are people, there are communities, and there are wildlife that are definitely benefiting because of that activity. So if you reversed it and you decided to ban it or you decided to remove it, you would have people, communities, and wildlife that would suffer because there wouldn't be something else that could come in and replace it. That's it. At the end of the day, the people who are after banning hunting will refuse to see any benefit. I'm pro-hunting and I see benefit, but I also see areas that we can improve. And I see people constantly trying to do better. And that just takes time. And the activity of hunting, whether you abhor it or whether you love it, is a land use activity that can be seen to be beneficial, specifically in this regard, to people in Botswana that are living hand to mouth. And it's those people that really matter the most. Are they benefiting? And the answer is yes.